All right, everyone, it's time for the occult, video number 415, the Lunari and Illuminati, the lunar and the solar. There are so many misconceptions about this dynamic within the occulted community, as well as among the public itself more largely. By the way, it's a fascinating subject. Do you understand where the topic of fascination comes from? It's originally rumored that snakes would stare at birds and they would basically fall out of trees due to literally fascination. So a little bit of linguistics is involved with this one. We've got a mosquito buzzing around. How lovely. Yes, please do not bite me. You will not die if you leave me alone. Um, the Lunari and the Illuminati are kind of sort of generally regarded in the New Age concept. That is that the Lunari, according to some of the New Age philosophers, this is Victorian and post-Victorian, were worshippers of the moon. The Illuminati were worshippers of the sun. Um, and generally speaking, they were degraded into being some sort of competing force. I have a different philosophy myself. Now, of course, I am more on the Lunari side. This does not make me feminine in any way, shape, or form, by the way, other than maybe my wonderful locks of hair. Um, this is a common misconception. The idea is that if you don't go with the solar gods and solar cults, that you necessarily are feminine in form. And it's roughly based on the concept of menstruation more than anything else, because the lunar cycle more closely approximates a woman's cycle, her menstrual cycle, her reproductive capabilities. You'll find that reproduction and sex are a common theme within religions, whereas the solar is more stable. Here's the way that I see it. And I've got some moon water actually right now. I charged this last night. There's a tablet of silver actually inside of it. By the way, if you want to make moon water, leave it out in the moonlight, put some silver in it, charge it, and then drink it, quite literally. So cheers. I'll be doing that in a moment. And here's the thing. The Lunari represent the feminine aspect of nature in a way. This is best represented by Hinduism, actually, more than anything else that I have personally encountered. Look at the goddess Kali, for example. Kali can be very nurturing at times, and motherly, trying to help, especially women and children, being a protectress. But then, at random times, she uh she has a temper tantrum. If you read the Bhagavad Gita and some of these other works, Kali occasionally has a temper tantrum, to the point where she almost destroyed the world at one point, and I believe it was Shiva had to throw himself at her feet in order to protect mankind and stuff like that. It's rather interesting. Um, Very intriguing religion, actually. I oppose organized religion, but insofar as people have their mythologies, their folklore, their spells, and things like that, spirituality is of great import to me, so actually I support it. If you look at some of these ancient tales, you get a sense that the male deities are more linear, more one-sided and stable, much like the sun is stable. The moon goes through phases, and this informed human spirituality in many religious groups, in many spiritual groups. Very, very interesting. The moon, of course, is also my symbol. That is particularly the waxing crescent moon. Roughly 3 to 5 days into its cycle, that's my moon. That's when I conduct my magic most successfully. And I have noticed that it is quite literal that it is most successful at those times. And here's the thing. The Lunari is effectively a loose collective. I wouldn't say organization or anything like that. Um, that venerates the lunar cycle more than the sun, so to speak. The Illuminati Not the New Age term for them, which is basically, hey, these are the globalists. Okay, they do exist, unfortunately, which is very sad for this world. But the original concept of the Illuminati is more a broad plethora of solar religious forces. It's more of the masculine energy. The masculine is more stable. The feminine is more unstable. Those of us who have chosen the lunar path do not lose our masculinity, but we do lose that stability. So sometimes if I act a little bit unstable, I think you may have noticed this, there's a reason for that. It depends on the path that you have particularly chosen. Fascinating subject again. But the solar and the lunar complement one another. They're not actually at war. This is the common misconception. The common misconception is you're either solar or you're lunar. The reality is this: the sun gives life and it gives light and it is stable. It is in one location and the earth goes around it over again, creating seasons, whether it's a wet or dry season or a hot or cold season. It depends on your hemisphere, of course, at the time. That is of no import. The moon gets its light from the sun, but it also cleanses it. The moon absorbs the sun's generative power. It's a very sexual metaphor. Let's just put it that way. It absorbs it and it turns it into life. It turns it into magical energy. Cheers. Mm. Just be sure not to drink the silver that you've put in it. Silver, of course, being the element of the moon. Gold being the element of the sun, more or less. Um, Generally speaking, these correlations within human spirituality are quite apt. They are almost a constant, actually. It's one of the few things that is most consistent within human spiritual systems. Doesn't seem to matter what continent you're on or where you are in the world, whether it's a Nordic environment or on the tip of South Africa or in the middle of the Sahara Desert or maybe over in East Asia. Basically, the basic idea is effectively the same. I am Lunari. I am not interested in the solar cults. I have forsaken them. I'm much more interested in what I believe to be, for me, something more appropriate in the mystic sense. Doesn't mean that I have any problem with people that worship the sun and stuff like that. The sun, of course, gives life. But keep in mind, let's say you're a pirate, like I am, of course. You could probably tell. When you're on your ship, which one is more useful? The sun is baking you when you're up in the rigging. It is scorching your skin and making the deck hot and things like that. To someone who is more piratical, therefore, the moon, as a guide, of course, with regards to navigation, is actually more useful. The moon is the symbol of thievery, and intrigue and assassinations and stealth and things like that. Whereas the sun is more the straightforward force, generating life, of course. This is what I've concluded over many, many years of study. So the moon is more for people like me, who are more on like the chaotic neutral side, so to speak. Um, it's basically, again, it's bipolar. On the one hand, you are very caring and generous, try to help people out, which is what I'm trying to do literally by making this video, ironically enough, among other things. But at the same time, you can flip like a goddamn switch. And if someone does fuck with you, they get destroyed. Whereas the sun is much more just generally forceful. It's more like imagine an army of gladiators. An army of centaurians. That's the sun. A group of thieves, that's the moon. That's basically the differential. Well, thieves, pirates, and assassins and so forth throwing in together. By the way, pirates were very cosmopolitan and democratic, which is actually very interesting and also has its own spiritual connotations. So there's the Lunari and the Illuminati, They represent loosely the lunar and the solar. And I chose the moon path, I suppose. And there's a reason, again, for my particular branded logo. And I find it quite fun. I believe that it's more mystic, whereas the solar tends to be more rooted in physicality, as it were. But they complement one another. The same sun that is shining and baking down on your deck if you're a pirate is also illuminating the moon at night. And so these two things are not opposites, they're complements to one another. Again, clearing up a common misconception that there's some sort of divine competition between the two. No, they both need one another. The sun has to generate its energy to create life on Earth, and the moon likewise, which is semi-aquatic in nature, in spiritual realms, has to stir the molten core of the earth and create tidal activity and things like that. Otherwise, we would all die. If it weren't for the moon, this earth would be completely lifeless. The same is true of the sun. If this planet were simply sitting in space with a moon going around it, it wouldn't have enough energy to survive. They are effectively twain. It is the male and female generative force. It is a sexual metaphor within many spiritual systems. Fascinating subject. That's about all. Peace out.